We're live. Hey, everybody. I say
We haven't
everybody.
been live
Nobody's
on
here.
YouTube. We haven't
Nobody's
been
here.
live on YouTube in a minute.
No, it's
That's all right. We're
yeah.
here.
I think we did. Our last one was TikTok a few days ago,
Well,
last week.
yeah, but the last couple that we did on YouTube like failed recording midway through, and we just had a lot of technical issues, so they were
Yeah,
deleted.
which is strange with our high tech setup and our
Our
production.
extremely advanced production studio.
You would think that we wouldn't have these issues, but yeah. So we'll see. So we're going to talk about this story we've got up. This was Tech Buzz, and it's in a few other places, but the UK orders Apple and Google to auto-block explicit content on kids' devices. And that's the Prime Minister there, Keir Starmer, mandates that tech giants activate built-in safety features to restrict minors' access to sexual content.
As it freaking should be. Like, the fact that this has to be an order is wild.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, first of all, that it comes from the Brits. I'm suspicious of it already anyway. They're pretty rough on people's freedom as of late. They're not big fans of free speech over there.
Fair.
Never have been, really,
I don't think anyone is like a fan of free speech anymore. I think we've reached that point collectively as a society, but a separate topic.
Yeah, sure. So when I first saw this, I guess he said they have 90 days. And then I've seen people talking about how there's no way they can get that done. But I guess this is stuff that's already built in, but it hasn't been activated.
Yeah.
On children's devices. Yeah. So, I don't know, like,
I think where the issue comes in, Mike, is what constitutes a children's device.
Yeah.
Right? Because there are some things that are clearly children's devices, like the Gizmo watches, or like the tablets that are specifically geared towards kids. When my kid was younger, he didn't have an iPad. He had a device that was specific to his age that was a tablet, but it was like, I don't remember the brand. It was one of those like VTech or whatever those brands are called, where it like does not give free reign of internet access, right? Yeah. Like it just has games and you can watch videos and those types of things. But I think where it gets really tricky here, and I know you shared this earlier, but I didn't read this full article. What constitutes a children's device?
I don't know. I'm looking too. I don't remember reading it. It's something that's been in there and it's part of the parental controls.
Right.
So, and it's been in the settings, but it required somebody to go in and turn them on. So probably when you're setting up your phones or you're adding a phone to your family plan, you got to identify. And that's probably where they're going to make this happen at then are these phones for kids and whatever the UK defines as a kid, probably anybody under 26 years old, I think, from the UK, the nanny state over there. I don't think they're an adult until they're 30.
We are so going to get canceled. Somebody is going to come across that comment. Yeah. Somebody is watching and is going to come across that comment and that comment alone.
Yeah.
Sorry. Hey, by the way, guys, like we're sassy sometimes. So no, I hear you. But there's so many, Mike, like my son has had an iPad. He's a teenager now, right? He's had an iPad for several years already. He's had an iPhone for several years already. I don't have parental controls on my son's device. I'll be transparent. I am sure the internet parenting world will crucify me for it, but I think that any and all restrictions on any device can be circumvented.
Yep.
Right? Like I think there's so much new stuff that comes up all the time that, I mean, we've seen this, we've talked about this with Meta lawsuits, we've talked about this when last year on our podcast, The Cynical Marketers, when there were cases of young children, like teenagers and like preteens and stuff, hurting themselves and harming themselves because AI told them to, because the Meta AI told them to, or ChatGPT told them to. And we even had an episode on the sensual content from Meta AI for users that it knows are underage, where then the documentation came out from Meta saying, yeah, we're totally aware of this. This is not on our priority list of things to do, right? These big tech companies know, they are far more aware than any of us of all the problematic things, and those things can still, there are still workarounds for them. So I think, you know, it's kind of like TikTok that does not allow anybody that's under 13 to be on TikTok. You know, like there are kids on TikTok everywhere. You know, kids have TikTok accounts. They have.
So this article says the technical implementation poses its own complications. Age verification remains notoriously unreliable, and neither company has foolproof methods for identifying which devices belong to children versus adults. Apple relies on family sharing groups and birth dates entered during Apple ID creation, and Google uses a similar self-reported data through the family link. So that's this system right now, but you know what's coming next.
Yeah, age. Well, mandatory, this is what Roblox has implemented, right?
They're going to put in Roblox IDs.
And, right. So Roblox and that, what is that other app? Why am I blanking, Mike? The chat app that everybody uses. Oh my God. I can't think of it Discord? Right now. This is crazy. Discord. Thank you. I was like, that literally blocked in my brain. I couldn't think of it. They implemented this thing where you can't use the chat unless you scan your face. And you need to scan your face like front, side, and side of your face. And then their AI determines what your age is. And if you're over a certain age, then you can use the chat functionality. And the first thing I told my child was like, do not scan your face into this stupid stuff. Like there's no reason, you know. And also, by the way, you can fake that. Look, have we not seen AI and deep fakes and all of these things? Like you can fake this. It's not that complicated.
For sure.
And no, I'm not uploading my ID to verify I'm an adult, because that's really where it's going to. I think as a parent, if you're going to let your child on electronics, it is your responsibility to monitor what is happening on those devices. If you're going to let them have an iPhone, if you're going to let him have an iPad, which specifically we're talking about all things Apple and Google, right? Google specifically for YouTube is what I'm assuming, content related. Then you as a parent, I'm sorry, like phones. I know it's not a popular opinion, but what was that?
Android phones and
what was that? Yeah, Android. Well, YouTube. I'm not an Android person. Sorry. So I guess like Google does, like y'all, that's how you log into Android. But you know, it's your responsibility as a freaking parent to know what your child is doing, period. That's it. That to me, I don't want.
I mean, there's been
I don't
age verification on things. And this article says too, savvy teens have been circumventing these systems since their introduction, which they do. Right? I mean,
you know, my son uses my birthday.
I know the idea is to say that this is about protecting the kids. And so then how can anyone come out and say, I don't think this is a good idea? Because then it's, you are for the exploitation of children then. You know, I'm like, no, isn't,
but like,
I don't know the answer because I know what's coming and I don't like what's coming. They're coming for, you know, you said you have to scan your face. Are you out of your mind? Exactly. Why? So you can put my face in whatever your database is now. Now you've got me for facial recognition. How many cameras are all over the country here? Like, I know it sounds conspiracy-ish, but we're heading this way, and I don't think it is a conspiracy. We learned
The
not
thing
that
is,
long
though,
ago that the government will lock you down. It hasn't been that
Yep.
long. I haven't forgotten that. You know?
Well, and it's interesting because, you know, we came out of like right, like COVID was a freaking disaster, and how all of it was handled was a shit show. And if like you know, that's a whole separate conversation regardless of your political stance or on any of it. But the things we've been talking about lately have been all the AI tools, like your car having facial recognition for you to be able to drive. It
Yeah.
won't start if it assumes that you're not in a right condition to drive, whether for stress or under influence or whatever. We're getting into these areas where we're handing over control to private companies, not just the government, but the private companies. For me, you cannot convince me that Apple and Google have no way to block sexually explicit material without having to do an age verification. There should simply be a setting where I say, doesn't matter if I'm an adult or a child, I don't want this content on my phone, and it is immediately blocked. You cannot tell me that these AI tools that these big companies like Apple and Google have no way to know what constitutes explicit material. Doesn't matter if I am 45 or 15. If I don't want that crap on my phone, I don't want it on my phone. Period. Right? Like, do you?
Well, this
think
article
that
also has a
putting age
section saying
verification-
that. Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
They said that they're notoriously. Oh, did we bumped?
No, we're good. No,
Okay.
you're good.
They're notoriously inaccurate in detecting the images. They've been
Right.
wrong constantly, flagging the wrong stuff. And we see this all the time. We got on TikTok, I got flagged for reading a quote, right? And that's their auto detection tools that are flagging mean
on
words and
TikTok,
content.
people think you're AI.
Yeah. So, I
On
mean, the stuff
TikTok,
is just
people
not
have literally
accurate.
multiple times called you AI. Like,
Right.
it
I know.
is, my whole thing, Mike, is it should be a setting. There should be a setting that says block explicit material. Even if it blocks the wrong stuff, at least it's there, but you as a user should
Yeah.
be able to check it, whether you're an adult or a child. I think getting into, here's the thing though, children don't have IDs. So how are you verifying if it's a child's device? Right? Like, is it because I, as a parent, said so? Right? So you're going to want my ID, right? You're going to want me to identify things and then be responsible for what happens on devices that I may not even use, that somebody else in my household, another adult, might use for different purpose, right? Like, I think it's getting to, I guess, like, I'm just really like horrified at the fact that parents are so willing to relinquish any and all responsibility to these companies and to the government for what their
Yeah.
kids do on daily basis. Like, that's the part that pisses me off. I know, like, it's a little different for you, Mike. Like, your children are adults now, right?
Right.
Like, so, you know, they had some of this when they were in their teenage years, but not to this extent.
No.
Right? Like, my son and his friends hang out daily on a group chat video call. Right? Like, this is how kids connect now. You know, I'm like, can you all go outside,
Yeah.
ride your bikes, do something? No, they're all on their phones 24/7. And so, do I trust Apple to control what my child is viewing and engaging with and doing? No, it is my responsibility as a parent to educate my child on the content they may come across. You know, we're seeing statistics now as parents that children as young as 8 years old, especially if they're boys, are introduced to sexually explicit material, and it's done by their friends on their friends' devices. It's never them knowing what to search. It's
Right,
somebody
right.
else showing them these things because an older brother saw it and an older cousin or blah, 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 right? Like, kids are seeing this as young as like 8 years old. There was a study done last year. I can't remember where it's from, but you guys can Google this, you know? if you as a parent are like, no, I'm just going to trust Apple. Apple will take care of it. My kid can't access any of that. I
But,
mean, did that
like,
work? We're Gen Xers. That didn't even work when we were young.
I mean, okay, so look, it's not a good thing if they say it by the age of 8, but there have always been older brothers and cousins.
Right.
And look, at when I was younger, that's friends, older brothers. That's how we got.
That's what I'm saying.
We got some of the magazines because there were older brothers around. There were older siblings and older cousins and older friends in the neighborhood. Still, I mean, I don't to the level, I guess, but I mean, back then, parents thought that the world was ending because of the stuff that we were doing when we were kids.
Right.
I remember here in Wheaton, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, when that movie came out, parents tried to get that movie banned in the Wheaton Theater because it was subversive. And it was a kid going against.
Wheaton would do something like this.
Yeah. A lot of Wheaton parents very upset that Wheaton Theater had that movie because they said subversive and against parents and teaching kids that it's okay to, that movie was a problem.
Skip school.
So I know that problems are worse today and they're multiplied, but the answer is not less freedom.
I just think they're different kind of problems, Mike.
I know, but so
I just think they're different kinds of problems.
There's explicit images that are out there. The only way that this is really ever going to be stopped is you're going to start scanning all devices. Why am I being scanned? What if I do want that stuff on my phone?
Right.
Why do I have to ask you permission?
Yeah.
I'm an adult. Look, I get it. Some kid, your kid or some lady, your kid down the street doesn't know, you can't control them. That is not my fault. No different than your kid who's a hoodlum or a vandal, right? Like me, like I was an uncontrolled kid.
Right.
So, but
you said,
yes, but what I did though, it didn't, then does every kid that in my class in high school, are you the problem too? Or was it just me? So I don't like this, that it's always the kids. Well, we have to protect the children. Of course we do.
Right.
With face scanning and now IDs, now I have to prove that I'm not a kid.
Yeah. It's my whole thing is, Mike, like, first of all, whatever restrictions you can put on anything, people will find ways around it. People have found ways. They put an ID submission restriction on adult material in Florida, that you couldn't access any website that has adult material unless you scan your ID, right? That's been a law in Florida for several years now. Do you think that the consumption of those materials has changed in Florida over the last 2 years? No. People have figured out how to use a VPN. When there's a will, there is a way. People will find a way to go around this. And I think all these things coming out, as like flock cameras and like Ring camera, Super Bowl ad that we saw with the lost dog, and all these things about facial recognition and protecting the kids. We want to protect the kids, but we don't want to educate the kids. It is really not that complex to tell your 12-year-old to explain in age-appropriate terms what adult explicit material is and why it's not real life and why consuming it has consequences. It's really not that hard. And it's really, we've reached a point, Mike, where adults are so uncomfortable being adults that we're just going to play, like, I'm going to blame Apple and Google and, ChatGPT and Meta for all these problems with my kid. And like, I get it. There's some circumstances we've covered them on our podcast where kids have harmed themselves and these companies knew and they did nothing about it. Right? Like, I think if a child is actively asking ChatGPT how to harm themselves or others, that is a reportable problem. Since you're going to monitor everything we do within those apps, that's something that can be flagged, right? But and then passed on to proper authorities or whoever, right? Like, or that ban those people from those apps, whatever it may be. I don't even know that works because, like you said, it can misconstrue all kinds of stuff. But like, we're giving so much control to these companies that is like mind blowing to me. Like, why are parents just not being parents? You know, I have a 13-year-old. You know, the
I don't
conversations
know.
I've had to
I mean,
have
I
with
know
my
they're worried about
13-year-old Mike,
this.
nobody's ever had with me. You know,
Yeah.
wild.
I know they're worried about
like
this stuff,
UK
but
is
like,
ordering. But it's
Yeah.
not, kids are not the problem either, though. I bet if we look at the consumption of explicit content, kids are like not the issue. I mean, I hate to say it like that, but
well, I mean, I'm sure
you
they're
know,
protecting child exploitation, and that's what they're going to say. And of course, it sounds like a good idea. And how
right,
can you be against it? Because I know that what the creep is going
right.
to be. We all know how this is going to play out. You know, they are trying to
But
get it to now where you are no longer anonymous on the internet. That's what they want to get to.
yes,
You
you're
know, they
right.
want you to have
That's
to
the
log
bottom
in with
line
an
of all of it.
ID. We're going this way. We're going to
Right.
China. Like the end result is a social credit system, I'm sure. You know, and if I do
Right.
something wrong, then does my internet access get shut down? Do you turn my cell phone off? You have access to all of this stuff now. You can shut my car down if you don't
Yeah.
like, you think I'm not safe to drive or I look tired, right? Or you think I was
Yeah.
texting
Well,
on my
that's
phone.
coming, right?
Right?
Yep.
I know, we're just marching
Yeah.
towards it, all in the name of protecting kids. I don't know if you've seen any of the
But
internet videos
thing
of
that
people going
makes
around
me
with those cards saying, hey, read this. And none of the kids can read any of the words on the
which
card. Like, how about we start working on that?
yeah,
Work on that.
yeah,
We're in Chicago. What
yeah.
number of kids in the Chicago public schools can read at grade level?
Right.
Not many.
The thing that's maddening about this, Mike, if it was truly about protecting the kids, we have flock cameras everywhere, right? Like we've seen maps surface this year of really and explicitly in Chicago, they're everywhere. They're here where we live. They're in our neighboring suburbs, right? Like they're every freaking where. If it was about protecting the kids, then why are we unable to stop child trafficking? Why are we not investigating cases that have been reported of child abuse and child like different like when we have access to these things, right? When was the last time you read a headline that said flock camera identified this person that was doing this and this and this to the children and we help protect the kids? Nope. We hear things about a woman from an entirely different state was misidentified as robbing a store and had to spend time in jail because flock misidentified her face
Yeah.
when she literally was not anywhere in the state physically present when the crime that she was accused of occurred. Like we hear those things, and yet we're willing to trust all this technology to protect our kids. It's like the dumbest thing. I'm like, I feel some type of way about this.
Too many people want to turn over everything to the government, to have the government run things
No
for them.
thanks.
I don't want that.
No, I'd rather go back to the 90s before
I don't
the
care who
internet.
you
Can we just
are.
do
None of
that?
them. I don't care what party they are. I don't want anyone making decisions for me, but I live in Illinois, so that
Right.
I don't get a say. But you know, I mean it.
Hey, it's not as bad as some other places.
Right.
Don't trash Illinois that bad.
I
But
mean,
we have our problems.
it's
for
always
sure,
about protecting
but
kids is the thing that I hate. It's always that line. And there's a character on The Simpsons years ago. And it used to be one of the things whenever they were talking about anything, she would scream in the meetings and city meetings or whatever, won't somebody think of the children? That's always what it comes down to.
Yeah.
Whatever it is somebody wants to pass, it's always going to be about the kids. And there's no
Yeah.
way it is about the kids because you're not doing anything to, you know, what are you doing actually to stop trafficking?
Yeah.
Nothing. You know,
They don't. I mean, they don't. You know, it's the same way that Meta said, yes, we were perfectly aware that our AI was talking explicitly and inappropriately to children,
Yeah.
to the accounts that we've identified as children. But there's, you know, we don't care. That's essentially what they said. It's the
I know.
same lawsuit that just happened with YouTube and Meta and, saying like, yes, we know that the scrolling of the 30-second videos is addictive and it's specifically designed to be addictive to children. We don't care. So why would you think they care about this? It doesn't make any sense to me, Mike. Like, it's these companies have blatantly come out and said, we're aware of these issues. We're not planning on doing much to correct them, even though we can, you know,
Yeah.
that's it. There's,
They've known for
it
years,
just,
but
it's
that
frustrating.
would stop revenue, and they're looking for their
Of
revenue.
course.
They're,
It's all the bottom line.
look, they can't. The UK, I think, just threw somebody in jail for 2 years for a comment on Facebook, right?
Right.
60 Minutes
Yes.
did a story
Yes.
not long ago where they were in Germany and they were showing the German police going and arresting people for comments on social media. And German prosecutors
Right.
like, yeah, if you say mean things, we're coming after you. And it's funny how quickly
Right.
they could find those people. They were
Yeah.
on them immediately.
Yeah.
But you're telling me you can't figure out who the truly bad people are?
Yeah.
Why? Like, why? Like,
I mean, look how fast. Yeah. But that's what I'm saying, Mike. Like, look how fast people, when people get heated about a specific topic, and usually it's around politics, right? When people get heated around something, they dox other people in a matter of minutes,
yeah.
right? Like within a day, like somebody says something and it's vile and you don't agree with it or whatever. People have been doxed within hours, right? If irregular people like you and me can go online and find out all kinds of crap, like we've talked about this when we've talked about businesses do not comment on personal things or your personal beliefs from your business account, right? Like we've seen that happen. We've talked about that, how to conduct yourself online from your business accounts, right? And we talk about it in a context of businesses because that is what we do. And that's within our wheelhouse. We've seen this happen, and these companies are complicit in it because they expose a lot of information. A lot of information is exposed by Meta around where you live, around where you leave comments. Like I can go and find like comments that somebody else has left on other people's posts, even if I'm not engaging with that person on social media. Right. And then people have found like people will post something and say, who is this person? Internet, help me find blah, blah. And within hours or days, that person is identified. Right. Because we've gotten to that point. So if we can do that as regular folks, but it's never for the people that you want identified for doing awful things, right? It's always because somebody made a comment or somebody did something that you don't like or somebody said something you disagree with,
Yeah.
it's so weird to me. Like, I don't know. It's technology that we're using, I feel like, is a necessary evil at this point. And we've talked about how every one of these CEOs behind all these AI companies, behind Apple, behind Google, they're all freaking Bond villains, like they care about their bottom line.
Yeah.
They don't care about kids' safety. You think Apple gives a crap about your kids' safety online?
No.
Look, do you think Alexa does from Amazon? Do you think that Meta does? No, of course they don't. ChatGPT doesn't. Look at like Sam Altman has gone on record and said that.
Yep.
Like, ChatGPT has given explicit instructions to children on how to harm themselves. These companies don't care. Like you can't, UK, any country, Mike, I feel like can go ahead and order this. And then what happens? So what happens if Apple and Google don't do that?
I don't know. The EU probably fines or something, whatever the EU does. They hate businesses. So,
okay. So they'll get fined.
right.
And we've talked about what happens to these companies when they get fined, right? They make that fine up within hours.
Right.
They laugh it off. They write a check and they're done. So
I don't have a fix. I know. I just don't like it because I don't like the direction it's going. I don't know how you fix it. I don't think this is the answer.
I think that I don't think we're angry enough at the level of personal information that that people are willing to surrender to these companies.
I know.
Claude was mad at me a couple of weeks ago because when I set up my Claude instance, I did not tell Claude that my name was Nada. So it was continuing to get confused as to who I would say, like, write this and write about Nada, like in third person, right? Like, can you help me like review this and blah, 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 and whatever. And it was getting annoyed with me. And it was asking me like, well, what is your name? Like, why does your name say here? And should this be it? Should this be your name? No, you don't need to know my name. Like, don't worry about it. Like when I set up my Gmail, I never set it up with my own name. Like, do people really do this? Gmail asks me for my address all the time. I never give it my address.
Right.
Like, why would you? Like, and I'm just wondering if I'm just that old school, like with AOL. Remember, like with AOL and the different discs that we used to get, like, set up internet, like multiple trials of the internet when it first came out. Do you all just like willingly give all of your information to these companies? I don't even use my actual birthday to set up my phone. I have a fake birthday that I use for everything. Is that just me?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like,
I don't like on websites and stuff. No. And I have like, I have a Yahoo address that I use for anything.
Well,
anyone who wants,
address,
you require an email. And if you require a phone number for me to do anything, then I'm just not doing it. There's no way. I'm not giving you my phone number. No chance.
Yeah.
Nobody. If you're a business and you're gating like pricing or something behind getting a phone number. Right. Nope. I don't care then.
No, absolutely not.
I'm not giving it to you because I know you're going to sell it. You're just going to start spamming me. Nope. I'm not giving up my phone number. Right. Email I don't care about so much because email you can ignore. I don't use my real email address for anybody anywhere. But still, like, that gets out because, you and I have business and people can figure out our business email addresses. Right. And plenty of scraping tools out there.
Fine, like,
but yeah, my phone number, not out there.
But it's funny, like, no. It's just interesting to me. Like, so Apple did this change last year when they set up a spam filter for your text messages. And I looked at it recently because I forgot that it was there. I looked at it recently and holy crap. I think I had over 400 messages in my spam SMS like folder. And I was like, do you not like just block these people? Like, why are you even putting that in my spam folder? Just block them. Like, if you know that it's spam, just block those numbers from reaching out. I literally had, I think, like 441 messages. I don't know, Mike. Like, I think for me, this is crazy because I feel like the governments are getting involved with these companies and they're trying to regulate the companies. But at the same time, these companies are supporting the governments, like in our country and other countries. They're donating to different parties in the government. They're doing different things. Like, I feel like all these people are in bed together, for a lack of a better description. Like, all these like government officials that are trying to be like for the people and that are anti-Apple and Google, right? But they have no problem taking donations from Apple and Google, right? And so to me, it's just like, you have to, as a consumer, and as a parent, you have to be diligent about what you allow and what you're fine with. And you need to educate your children. You need to educate yourself. If you're not, there's plenty of like internet and privacy literacy things out there that you can find information on. Educate yourself, then educate your children. Have difficult conversations with your children about explicit crap that they can see online. Like, have conversations. I had to have a conversation with my child about the fact that somebody can take your face and create a nude image of you that is not consensual for anybody. And that's a crime, by the way, right? You have to have those conversations because that happened to a schoolmate of his. And it's terrifying what our children are growing up to see and know and deal with. But if you're not participating as a parent, like, I'm not outsourcing that job to Apple.
I know. So many
make
do.
Any sense. I know, it's sad.
All
like,
right.
I don't know.
Well, we've hit a good amount of time.
That's our rant on this. I know.
we're
That's
good
a
on
kind
our
of
live here, I
our
think.
take on it.
So thank you.
Yeah.
We had David Jason, 1820, with a couple of comments for us. Thank you for
Yeah.
watching us.
Yeah. Hey, David.
We appreciate
you
it very
for
much.
joining.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much. We try to be regular with this,
Yeah.
but we'll be back again live
Yeah.
soon. So
Yeah.
we appreciate everybody.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
This was
much.
fun.
We will see you
Thank you.